Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, The Realtor You Know, with me, Mike, your local Boise, Idaho realtor. In today's video, I'm gonna be going over the top 5 things that I think buyers should consider before purchasing a home. A lot of buyers that I talk to right from the get-go don't quite have a good understanding of the process, and so I'm doing this video in the hopes to help educate people so that when they do decide to enter into that real estate market, they're educated and they're ahead of most buyers. The first thing you should consider if you're thinking about purchasing a home is taking a hard look at your financial situation. The reason I say this first off is because a lot of buyers do this in reverse order. They look at the homes, they figure out what they want, and everything house related, but they don't touch on that financial side of things. So my best suggestion is to speak with the lender sooner rather than later. There's no reason to be scared or shy of a lender. They're there to basically look at your financial situation, run the numbers for you, and give you insight on what you can afford. And if you can't afford it, a lot of good lenders will set you up on a 6-month or 8-month plan in order to get you where you need to be so you can afford the home, one, but also go into it and afford it comfortably so you're not house broke once you get into those monthly payments. Now there's gonna be some criteria that the lenders are gonna wanna look at: your current credit score, debt to income, so how much overall debt you have versus how much you're bringing in income-wise. They like to see 2 years of employment, so as long as you've had the last 24 months of consecutive employment, it doesn't necessarily have to be with the same employer, but there can't be any major gaps if you did change employers. But that's really a crucial aspect too, is 2 years of solid employment. As far as a credit score, you're gonna wanna have at least a 620 or up. Now there are some lending programs out there that can approve you down as low as like 580, I believe, but you're gonna get hit with higher interest rates and other penalties potentially at that point. So the higher you can get that credit score up above 620, the more it's gonna benefit you down the road. The second thing that buyers should consider is how much do you want to afford? A lot of my clients will get approved for way more than they initially anticipated, and that's great. But when they come to me and they say, hey Mike, we got pre-approved for, let's say 500,000. I say, hey, great, what's your monthly at that purchase price? And maybe they didn't have that conversation with their lender. And so they go back, they speak with their lender and they realize, oh my goodness, like I don't want a $4,000 monthly mortgage. And so that's why I say you want to determine on how much you want to afford. Just because you can get approved for, a $500,000 loan doesn't mean you're gonna like the payment at that price. And so maybe a home at that $350,000, $375,000 range is gonna be a better, more comfortable fit for you when it comes to your financials and your overall monthly budget. And take it from my personal experience where I didn't prioritize my finances when I bought my first home. I bought at the peak of my budget because that's really all I could afford, and there wasn't a whole lot out there at that $250,000 price range. And I was house broke, and there is nothing worse than owning a home and being broke while doing it. It takes all the fun out of homeownership, and it feels like you can't really do a whole lot. And so it just makes the process less enjoyable. If you're stressing about your monthly bills every single month, it's not fun. And that's why I really try to stress with my clients to worry about the finances, because you're potentially getting locked into this loan for up to 30 years. The third item to consider when buying a home is what kind of property do you want? Do you want a single family home that's in a subdivision? Do you want a condo or a townhome with an HOA that maintains a lot of the responsibilities for you so you have less on your plate? Maybe you want something out in the country. Well, all those properties are gonna have their positives and negatives. Condo and townhome, the HOAs are typically gonna be more expensive, but they're also gonna offer a lot more benefit for you and take some of that homeowner responsibility off of your plate. Where if you have a single family home in a subdivision, you're probably gonna have less of an HOA. There's a potential though, you're gonna have more homeownership responsibilities. And then if you get out even further, you might not even be on the city water or city sewer. You might have your own septic tank that you have to, take care of every few years and get it pumped. You might have to maintain the well. You're gonna have a lot more responsibility on your hand. So the fourth item I think buyers should consider is going to be location, right? And that's the famous line in real estate is location, location, location. And it's true. Depending on where your house is located, it is going to affect your livability, but also the home's value. So if you happen to be in districts of highly rated schools, that's gonna help. Close to shopping and other amenities, that's also gonna be a positive. How close are you to the freeway? Is it easy access for commuting back and forth to work? Those are all things that buyers should keep in the back of their head as they start the process. Not only for you in the time that you live at the home, but you should be thinking potentially down the road resale value as well. There are homes on very awkward lots that can negatively impact a home's value, and so that's something you want to be aware of. Fifth and final thing that buyers need to consider is timeline. Get a lot of people that reach out to me and I'm their first point of contact. And a lot of buyers don't realize how long the process can take from the time they speak with a realtor to the time they close on a home. Now, on average, I probably spend 6 to 10 months with clients from the first time I meet them to the time that they're closed on a home and getting the keys to it. And there's a lot of steps in between from when you first meet with your realtor to the time that you're actually getting your keys. And for most of my clients, it's gonna be the lending process. A lot of them are gonna start the pre-approval process and realize they can't get pre-approved, they have to work on credit, or they got to bring their income up, or a mixture of things. That can take some time. And so that's why I say think about your timeline, because timeline could be dictated by a lease. Maybe they have to sell a home. Maybe they're, they got pregnant, they're having a kid, but they want to purchase after they have the baby. They want to get into a bigger home. So these are things that you should be considering, and then also having a discussion within your realtor, so that way your realtor can make a plan around your timeline, your desired timeline, and try to best fit within that. And that will help mitigate any surprises throughout the process as well. And I got one more for you guys, just a bonus tip. Do your research. Talk to professionals. As a buyer, you are going to be working hand in hand with your realtor. You're going to be speaking with them day in and day out once you really get into that search mode, where you're going out and looking at properties a couple times a week. And so really do your due diligence. I always suggest to buyers, talk to your friends and family who have purchased, get their realtor recommendations. Did they like their realtor? If so, sit down, have a coffee with them. And then with lenders, when it comes to lenders, same thing. Talk to your friends and family that have purchased here recently within the last 12 months. Get their recommendations. If you have a realtor, I know, I don't know, hundreds of realtors in the Boise Treasure Valley. Granted, I only refer a few out because I've worked with them before in the past. I know that they do a good job. So get those recommendations, take the time, sit down with the professionals, interview a couple realtors, interview a couple lenders, have the lenders crunch some numbers for you so that you're getting the best deal. Lenders will compete for your business, just FYI. So sometimes lenders will throw incentives at buyers in order to win over their business. And that's why I say talking to them, it's only gonna benefit you as the buyer. But there you have it, guys. Short, sweet, to the point. I wanted to get this out because I know a lot of people will set their New Year's resolution to purchase a home. And I wanna put this out there so that way when the time comes, you guys can be confident and educated in your decisions and be ahead of 99% of buyers. Don't do what the rest of buyers do. Don't go look at homes, get your hopes up, and then scramble to get your finances and everything else ordered. Do the boring stuff up front. It will pay out exponentially on the back end. You'll have a better, much more streamlined buying experience. It'll reduce your stress level because you'll have a plan in place with the professionals that you're gonna rely on, like your realtor and your lender. And you guys will thank yourself at the end of the process. I can guarantee it. Any buyer of mine that follows these steps is just setting themselves up for success. So hopefully you guys got some value out of it. If you did, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It definitely helps out the channel. And that's all I got for you guys in this one. I'll see you next time.